All right, so I know this isn't the best video quality. I definitely need to fix the lighting in here and change some things up, but I wanted to just get around to talking more about the newest release, Dark Horse Elixir, and really just give some more details on it. It's at a point now where it is done. Production's finished. There's going to be a pre-sale, which I will likely start today. And then after the pre-sale, it'll ship within probably 2 weeks. As everything gets bottled up and ready to go. But it is complete. The formula is done, everything like that. It's been finalized, and so how this differs from the original Dark Horse. And so the original Dark Horse was, again, something I wanted to do with this brand, other than obviously come up with original releases, was make kind of fragrances that I wish had been made, or change fragrances, I guess, in ways that I wish they would have been done initially by the perfumer. And so one of those was the original Dark Horse, was meant to be kind of a twist on Layton exclusive. I love Layton. It's one of my favorite fragrances, but I did not like the animalic undertone from Layton exclusive. I also didn't understand some of the notes in there. There's like watery notes in Layton exclusive, which just didn't make sense to me. I imagined Layton exclusive to be more of a darker, potentially richer, heavier version of Layton with like a nice kind of incense and leather and coffee, still going that oriental route, but making it more just dark, more masculine. And that is what Dark Horse is. Now, Dark Horse Elixir, and where I kind of got the idea from, is obviously there's a elixir trend going on now that was really kicked off with Sauvage Elixir. It's a hit. A lot of people love Sauvage Elixir. I am one of those people. And since Sauvage Elixir, there's been a ton of different elixirs coming out. Well, one company that hasn't gotten on the train is Parfums de Marly. And so it got me thinking what a Layton elixir would be, in my kind of what I would think a Layton elixir would be. And so this is kind of that. This is my interpretation of what Layton elixir would be had Parfums de Marly actually released one. And who knows, maybe they will in the future. I do have concerns though, because again, I didn't like that animalic undertone, and I thought there should have been this nice kind of like, again, incense, leather, coffee, and kind of almost like a slight almost benzoin, but I also got almost kind of this light kind of Kindle effect in the original Dark Horse that I made, and I really like that. And that's something I wish would have been a Layton exclusive, and I do worry if they do make an elixir, it's going to kind of go down that animalic route as well. Something I like to do, and with my fragrances, is like, I want to be able to enjoy them, but I also want them to be mass appealing, and not necessarily like that's the main goal, but I want people to obviously like that. You want to smell good, you don't want to smell bad, and so but it's trying to make them unique, and different from everything else out there at the same time. So anyway, this brings us to Dark Horse Elixir. Now, the note structure, I'll start with that and kind of go into more detail, thought process, and where this kind of goes. So the top's apple, plum, lavender, Ceylon, cinnamon, Madagascar, cloves, citrus, bergamot, mandarin orange. Middle notes are incense, rosewood, geranium, violet, jasmine. Base notes are aged whiskey, vanilla, tonka bean, amber, labdanum, musk, cardamom, sandalwood, pepper, guaiac wood, and patchouli. And so something that you will, see with different elixirs is they kind of go different routes depending on who the company releasing them is and how they choose to go, what direction they choose to go with that specific fragrance. For instance, Sauvage Elixirs almost takes a more fougere, mature take on something that's traditionally kind of seen as being a younger DNA, a teenager DNA, which is the original Sauvage. And Parfum now takes a darker twist on that, and but it's still kind of seen as being more of a shower gel, juvenile, young adult style fragrance, whereas Sauvage Elixir certainly goes towards more of the mature market. And then you have companies like Jean Paul Gaultier who took, Lamal Elixir, and that is a very sweet, very, wonderful smelling vanilla, but it's very sweet. Same with Invictus Victory Elixir and the plethora of other elixirs that have been out there, which kind of really just take a very rich, sweet take. But they all kind of stay within that DNA, right? Like Invictus Victory is very similar to Elixir. Elixir is better, in my opinion. Lamal Elixir is similar to some degree to the other Lamal line, whereas Sauvage Elixir is less similar than the others. And so I say this to say that Dark Horse Elixir is the furthest from Layton of between Dark Horse and Dark Horse Elixir, and that was intentional. This wasn't, again, supposed to be another version of Dark Horse that I've already released, but I wanted it to keep that core of Layton that makes Layton so wonderful. That super nice, smooth lavender, that apple, and that wonderful, just seductive vanilla. And so all those are in there. Obviously, Geranium and a lot of the other accords are in there. But I also wanted to darken it up. But I wanted to darken it up different than the traditional Dark Horse. And the traditional Dark Horse, again, is very... I love it. I personally obviously love it. I obviously created it. Of course, I love it. And I know it's been well received. However, the leather and the birch and some of the darker notes in there can be off-putting to some people, maybe overly mature, overly masculine. And so I could, I guess it depends on the individual, wearing it. So what I did with this is I almost went it's almost kind of an in-between of both. I went the route, I went with Sauvage Elixir in the sense that it's the furthest from Layton, and it's further from Layton than, say, John Paul Gaultier Lamal Elixir is from the Lamal line, or again, Invictus Victory Elixir is from Invictus Victory. But it doesn't go that mature route. This was supposed to be something that I wanted to be more generally mass appealing, sweet, seductive, sexy, darker, Layton. And that's what you get. Obviously, there is quite a bit of notes in this, and that is intentional as well. It is complex, but it is blended very well to the point that you'll notice when you spray it, it's blended very well, but it is stacked pretty heavily with notes. And again, what you're getting with this is a spicier version of Layton, a sweeter version of Layton, a darker, a more seductive, just a very nice, rich, like deep oriental fragrance that's perfect in the winter, perfect in the fall. The apple and the plum work so well together. The plum is definitely noticeable. Okay, you're going to notice that pretty much throughout the fragrance. It comes in the opening, but it lasts throughout. It's going to hang around. Plum is amazing. The aged whiskey has this wonderful, just smooth whiskey. It's not abrasive. It doesn't smell like you dumped a drink on yourself. It smells like just a nice, you get that whiskey smell, but it's not in a bad way. It's a very sexy whiskey. I know it sounds kind of weird, but it comes off very sexy, and it sits in the background, but it is still pretty prominent. And then over top of that, obviously you have the vanilla and the lavender, but over top of that you have this blanket of incense, and the incense is extremely smooth, very smooth, very mass appealing. This isn't an interlude black iris kind of incense. This isn't a church incense. This isn't a burning wood smell. This is a very smooth, mass appealing incense. In the cinnamon, the vanilla, again with the plum and the woods, and just the kind of culmination of all the notes, it's amazing. It's also potent. So I sprayed myself with one of the variations I had been testing prior to finalizing the final version. In this particular one, I had amped up the woods more. And I had sprayed that this morning from a little decant. Actually, I got it right here. I sprayed it this morning, and oh my God, one spray on the neck, and I was, it's loud. It's loud. So think Sauvage Elixir. You can go light on the trigger. Again, no expenses were spared with this, so you are getting your money's worth, and it's going to last. Similar to, again, Sauvage Elixir, as far as you can go light on the sprayer, and it's going to hang around. Now, again, this is something that, if you were wanting a something that was close to the original Layton. Now, don't get me wrong, the original Layton DNA is very there. It's very there. You're going to know this has got, that Layton DNA in it, but it takes a pretty decent departure from that, goes in a much darker, richer, sexier, sweeter, seductive realm. It maintains a masculinity. This certainly could be unisex, but I think it leans masculine. Definitely something you would really only want to wear in the cold weather, fall and winter. Summer, inside, I've been wearing this obviously summer or at nighttime, but you don't want to wear this in the heat. I know this is probably not the best time to release this, given that. And I do have several other releases coming soon that are more appropriate for this weather, but I've been working on this for quite some time, and I wanted to finally release it because I'm just excited about it. So, maybe this is something, hell, you could get it now if you wanted during the pre-sale and, spray it a few times, test it, and let it sit, and then certainly by, the winter, it's going to be nice and matured. So now my fragrances do come pre-macerated, so this isn't an issue with maceration. Maturation obviously always continues to happen throughout the however long you own the fragrance. And so this will certainly get richer and stronger as it has more time to mature. Okay, so that is that. If you have any questions, post them in the comments section. If there's any fragrances you would like to see me make, post those in the comment section as well. Again, this is just something that basically my interpretation of Parfums Marley, if they had made a Layton elixir. And you're going to have some back notes in there that are pretty, just increase kind of the seductive profile, and that's the cardamom, the tonka bean, and there is some musk in there too to kind of help balance out that sweetness. Again, the woods help do that as well. And so I kind of struggled with if I wanted to go the sweet and seductive, or if I wanted to kind of make it more of a drier, not as sweet fragrance. But I ultimately went the route I went because I think it's going to be a hit in the cold weather. I think this is going to be a huge hit. I think people are going to love it. Again, the addition of the plum and the whiskey is it's very seductive. It's very unique. It's just, and then again with the spices, it is, to me, it is just, obviously it's an oriental spicy fragrance, but it's, I don't know. I'm biased, clearly, obviously. That goes out without saying. But I'll just say this is going to be my signature scent in the colder months. And obviously I've been wearing it since throughout. But like I said, even now, I'm wearing it now. It's hot out where I'm at now. So it is what it is. But if you're going out to do something outside, this wouldn't be appropriate. You're going to be choking people out. Hell, you're going to choke yourself out at that point. So do keep that in mind. It is definitely a winter fragrance. Anyway, if you have any questions, again, put them in the comments section. Any other fragrances you would like to see, I do have, again, several others coming out very soon. In the next month or two, we'll be rolling out. I took my time with Dark Horse Elixir, and I'm glad I did. Honestly, because I went through I don't know how many variations, and the process was fun, but seeing the final product, it was worth every one of them. So anyway, thank you all. Appreciate your support as always. We are having a sale right now, by the way, as a summer sale. I think it's 35% off, 40% off, something like that, the entire site. So, if you're looking pick something up. There was recently an Ocean Sunset review done in the top 10, I believe, beach style fragrance list. Chris, who's done several reviews, which I appreciate him trying out our fragrances and stuff. There's a ton of reviews on the website too. If you want to see other reviews, you can also go on my actual website. There's video reviews from influencers, obviously, but if you want to see actual customer reviews, they're on the website as well. I do not filter reviews. So any reviews on the website are legitimate. And so take that for whatever it's worth. But anyway, thank you. I've been ranting enough. I'll let y'all go.